If you're watching this, you're probably watching the recorded side, unless you come in right now. Right now. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon or evening, whichever time you may be watching this live feed. So we'll see if some people come in here. Rhymes with Orange, James Best, McGee Film, CPAP. Got all the Snyder and ex-Snyder guys in here. Shows you who's working, right? Or who's not working. I know CPAP's at home. Pale Rider, Daniel Adami. Big Billy, what's up? Man, look at all these ex-Snyder and current Snyder guys. Motor T, what's up? McGee's home, CPAP's home. Just rub it in. Ronald Bress, what's up? See, YouTube's clutch is fixed. You're back on, says Weird Racing. Yeah, the clutch is fixed. Definitely getting the test with US 69 here in Oklahoma. That's the title. It's Oklahoma. Kimasabi, what's up? Kimasabi's at home. Well, I would have been at home if it wasn't for the big truck repair. Yeah, I am jealous. CPAP. Excuse me. So, the reason why my live feed, if you're in my live feed yesterday afternoon, the reason why it ended so abruptly is because that was the Michigan dealer of trailers calling me back. No, Weird Racing says, I figured you went offline so quickly, I figured YouTube stopped. No, hey Shadow Wolf, what's up? No, I was talking to the trailer dealer, and then after I got off the phone with him, I made a couple of phone calls, and then I was loaded, so that's why I didn't come back. So, work fast. How's it going? So, it's kind of funny how dealerships work, man. It's really interesting. So, here's what went down. So, basically, I was looking at, there was a bunch of used trailers up there in Saginaw, Michigan. Saginaw, Michigan. And I figured that would be a good convenient place. And they had a pretty good price on these used, about 5-year-old trailers. And they were plate trailers too. YouTube police. So, James Best told me about him. And we had a conversation. He led me to the website. They had one left. So I put a bid on one, filled out a credit application, and I told the dealer, I said, I need it no money down. Because I'm broke. So he's like, oh, that shouldn't be a problem. So, I figured he wouldn't get back. It's kind of the same way that my truck went down, too. They don't tell you you're approved until Friday afternoon. So, which means you got to wait till Monday morning to do kind of all the stuff, So, I was approved for the loan, and I knew it was a no-brainer. But they wanted like $3,800 down. And I refused to put that on a credit card. And I told the guy, I said, well, thanks for your time, sir. I guess this deal's done, I did the phone call equivalent to walking out of the room. So, it kind of made him kind of like, it took him by surprise that I was like quick to, undo the deal right there. And the reason why I was quick to do that is because, basically the trailer was a matter of convenience and price, okay? If you take out those two factors, because it was at a different dealership than what I originally thought, that's number one. And number two, I was hoping to get no money down. So he I had several prominent YouTubers and other such people tell me that they talk to their dealerships and they can get a trailer no money down. So I thought that was the end of the deal. So I thought, well, I'm back to the drawing board. So I had a very long conversation with you know, a couple of people we know in this room, and suddenly I'm at a rest area, and I get an email from the dealer. He's like, "Hey, I'll put this into the financiers, you know, for no money down. Usually no money down is reserved for new trailers, not used trailers," which is what a couple of people had told me. I'll see what I can do. And then, you know, it was suggested to me that I told him, well, if you can't get it for the used, let's go for the new. So that was the last email I sent. So now we're looking at probably Wednesday before I get approved for that. So, but you gotta stand your ground, I guess. So, but it was kind of funny how just walking out of the room like that, just kind of like, you know, made him scramble, because I guess most people would have been like, okay, I'll let you know when I come up with the $3,800. My first truck I got with only $2,000 down. This truck, my trade-in was my down payment. But that trailer down payment was more than either one of those. And I've got 10 years of CDL experience and 3.5 years of being an owner-operator. And when he told me the deal, it was the same as someone that didn't quite have all that experience and has never paid off, you know, a truck. I've paid off a truck technically. So that kind of ticked me off, you know, because, you know, why am I treated the same as someone with not as much experience or credit history? So, but I talked to another person that's probably in this room, and he was using the same finance company for their trailer, and he told me give him his number, and, you know, they'll at least tell you why, if not at least approve you for a new trailer. So that's kind of where we're at here. You've been approved, but wait, says Pale Rider, right? Yeah, I gave him the mic drop, Anthony Blackbeard. That's exactly what I did. Give respect to Snorlord. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know anything about advanced trucking. I wouldn't be a famous YouTube superstar, CPAP Machine says. Dollar Bill. Hey, Snorlord. Just posted my first couple of videos. My channel's hard to find. It's easiest to find me by clicking on my icon. All right, Dollar Bill. Where's my tablet? Let's go check it out here, Dollar Bill. One of the things that you guys starting YouTube channels you need to consider is how easy is it to find your channel. If you type in Snorlord, guess what? You're going to find me or my old channel. So Big Rich, I have trouble finding him. I think at one point I had to actually like call him or text him saying, hey, send me a link to your channel. Turn this down so it's not echoing. Oh, there's the echo. Echo, echo, echo. There we go. Go to channel. Subscribe. Clicked on the bell. There you go. You're up to 9 subscribers now, Dollar Bill. So now when Big Rich changed his name to Small Poor, he was actually kind of easier to find. So can you find me? Am I easy to find? I am. You should sub, says McGee Films. Big Rich changed his name, adding Gallagher. Yeah, it was kind of a joke. He changed it to Small Poor, and then it was like, you know, the opposite of Big Rich. So, and then he discovered he can't change his name till the end of February. So he was like, dang it. So he started another channel, supposed to be his clean channel. And you can find Big Rich that way. But if you type in Big Rich, that's a very common phrase in the YouTube world. So, but he has a link to that channel in one of the small poor videos. You type mine in, says Shadow Wolf, all you come up with is hundreds of young gamers, right? Any word on the biopsy yet? Stu, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. The results came back benign, so we're good there. So I was yesterday was kind of a mix. Well, no, day before yesterday was when I got the letter from the hospital, so. Yeah, Adam says I was in that chat with Jeff, like on the stream when he had it. No, he still has his channel. He just, you type in small poor, it might come up. When you type in Big Rich, says Dan Smith, you get Big and Rich, a country group, right? Daniel Adami says you can find me if you type my name. Johnny Saka, what's up? Check with your bank on trailer finance, way better rates than finance company. Work fast. That was going to be my backup plan. Sometimes personal banks won't touch commercial loans, so that's the problem with that sometimes, and they usually want money down. I think sometimes they'll want like 25% down. So now later in life, I might go and get everything refinanced through my bank. Might do that. So, yeah, everybody go to Dollar Bill. Check out his channel. I encourage new YouTubers. There's another YouTuber I'm going to give a shout out. Farrah Green. She's starting with Prime next week. She's going to be a flatbedder, and a solo flatbedder at that. And she gave me a shout out on Facebook and her channel. So, Route 66 Baby is her YouTube name, I believe. Let's see if I can find it. David Riverman says, I use BMO to finance my trailer. That's cool. Where'd you get your trailer from, David? See, I'm typing in her channel now. See if it comes up. I might have it spelled wrong. Yeah. So, sometimes you gotta have the spelling just right. So, anyways, I wanna... So, Farrah, if you come in here, say something and type your channel. If not, maybe in the comment section. So, Coast Trailer, Troutdale, Oregon. That's far away. Work fast. I just purchased a W-9, 7% finance company, 3% bank. Yeah, that's a good deal. To get 7% is actually pretty good. Sean Price says I need a few more subs so I can try figuring out how to go live. Sean Price. Go live's pretty easy. I don't know how many subscribers you need. They keep changing that number, I think. And I think it goes by your amount of views, too. Average Equipment Finance Mentor Ohio. Ask for Steve. Johnny Sacco. Oh, ACG. Okay. Thought that was a strange name. So... you can use an iPad to stream to YouTube. Yeah, that's the thing. You guys, you have to have a newer phone and a newer, you know, I've iOS 6 or Android 6 is what you have to have. if you go to your YouTube, click on the camera icon, and if it doesn't say go live, then, you know, and then you also have to turn it on, I think, on your actual lap or computer. David says, yeah, I know, I live in Oregon. I just don't truck in Oregon. I drive to the Midwest and run the Midwest. So, but, so that's what's going on. We're back to the drawing board on the trailer, maybe. So, and if not, you know, we'll find out next week. I got a load that delivers Tuesday in Missouri. And if everything goes through, that might be my trip home. So, Daniel Adami, I'm in Oklahoma. Here, I'll show you guys. There's the Flying J in Chakotay or Chakota, or, you know, however you want to say it. But I am across the street because I got here late last night. There was some parking at that Flying J, but I didn't like the spots because it's one of those Flying J's where the spots across the way don't give you enough swing room, so you have potential to be hit. So I came over here across the street to this Phillips 66. There's the liquor store there. So I got fuel last night. My low fuel light, it's funny. My low fuel light's done this 3 times to me now. I'll sit there and say, okay, I'm going to try to get to Chakota, Oklahoma. You know, and I look at my gauge, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, I've got enough, right? But then I got through Muskogee, and I'm like, you know, maybe I ought to get fuel at Muskogee. So I'm looking over at the Pilot. And I'm like, it looks a little busy, looks like a pain in the butt. I was kind of pressed for time. And I think I can make it to Chakota. I kid you not, man. I got literally outside the line of Muskogee, and ding, low fuel light comes on. I'm like, if it would have done it like 5 minutes before, I would have just pulled into the Pilot. So that kind of, it's done that to me 3 times. So I'm like, wonder if I should fuel there. Now I'll make it to the next stop. Ding. And I usually try not to run it that low, because what if I would have came here and the fuel pumps weren't working? I would be screwed. So, actually, there's a truck stop. I don't know if this place still sells fuel or not, but I think there's one on I-40. I would have been like 10 miles out of the way, but still, that's cutting it close. You don't want to cut it close like that. So, Snorler didn't answer me on the CB yesterday. I didn't realize I passed you, Pale Rider. That's why I can't go live. I ain't got no subscribers. I was wondering what was up. Says Shadow Wolf. Shadow Wolf, you've gone live. You're silly. I know where you are, says James Neal. Shh, it's a secret. I never knew an easy way to find someone's channel was to click on their icon on a live chat. Right. That's why, you know, if you want to get some attention on your channel, just comment in the live feeds. And as long as you're not sitting there begging for subs, people will usually go, I'll check you out. And especially if the person doing the live feed says, hey, go check out so-and-so. Or at least mentions their name out loud, you know. I try to appear in everybody's live feeds, you know, and say, hey, what's up? So, but it is what it is. I hate that saying. Why do we say that? Kind of hot. Take off my flannel shirt here. So I missed Jeff's live feed this morning. He's back at work. I'm working. But there's that. So Los Angeles trying to get out before everyone gets up. I have 6 on my clock, says Johnny Sacco. I've only truck driven in LA one time. Pale Rider TV says 600 videos subscribe. I guarantee that 99% of the people in here have subscribed to Pale Rider. But if not, you should. He's up to 600 videos. Dude's been doing videos as long as I've been driving. Fueling in St. Louis, Missouri soon. Ain't staying long, says Shadow Wolf. Drivers are nuts here. Right, Johnny. You know, it's... Population of America is just too much. There's too many people here. Never trust fuel gauge. Always run off odometer, says work fast. I will agree with that. My Peterbilt, my fuel gauge was off. And so therefore I was running the miles. So what I did is I reset the trip odometer every time I fueled. And when I got about 800 to 900, it was time to fuel. So if I was running like 3 light loads together, I might push it to 900 to 1,000. But for the most part, I was always fueling around 800 miles. Big Yeti, what is up? Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope all is well with you, sir. Daniel Nottingham, what's up? Daniel, are you working this weekend? Are you carrying the weight of your company? Because CPAP and McGee are taking the weekend off? You learned the hard way loaded with cattle? Wow, yeah. The only time I've run out of fuel was I literally coasted into the Loves. It was sputtering as I cruised into the fuel island. That was in Illinois at mile marker 45 on 70. And I was trying to get to Edwardsville is what I was trying to do. And I went to go restart my truck and it wouldn't start. And somebody next to me goes, you ran out of fuel, didn't you? So one of the Loves, he had to kind of help me prime the engine. He didn't even charge me for it, one of the shop guys, so that was cool. But that's the closest. And your check engine light comes on for a couple of days. So how many miles on reserve? Empty. I don't know. I don't know, Johnny. No, it's a bad week in Indy, says Daniel. Nodding him. Looking at the low board. I was looking at the low board, the DAP board earlier too. The loads that I like doing are there as another carrier. So that's kind of cool. So, our low board I haven't looked at. So, board sucks right now, waiting until Monday. Thank you, Daniel Adami. I was wondering if a wrench would catch that. Big Billy says I've got 150 miles on empty. Yeah, you're flirting. Newhouse did a whole thing. Anthony Newhouse did a video about how he ran out of fuel. He's got the same truck I do. Running that low, guys, is hard on your injectors because you got all the crap on the bottom of the tank. And also, when you're going from cold to warm to cold to warm, then you can develop other issues. Moisture, algae. So, especially this time of year, I try not to run it below half. The only reason why I was running it that low is because I had a super, super light load and it wasn't windy. And I knew I could make it. And then this should be the last time I have to fuel on this check, because I'm not going to net hardly anything this week. But I had to have something in the account. Let's talk about that. Daniel Nottingham says CPAP slow on weekends. Okay, you guys work in the spot market. Let me educate you for a second here, okay? Yes, truck driving is a 24/7 deal, right? However, 90%, well, a large percentage of people or companies only ship Monday through Friday. Very rarely do you have deliveries on Saturday and Sunday. The majority of brokers are off on the weekends. When I was at Landstar, if you didn't have anything booked for the weekend that took you over the weekend, in other words, you're going to run 1,000 miles to deliver Monday morning after it picks up Friday. If you didn't book something like that, you were dead in the water. Once it was California time, 5 o'clock, you were done. Unless you're running for Amazon or FedEx or UPS or Walmart dedicated, you ain't finding anything. The best time to book your weekend load is Thursday afternoon. So yeah, now with that being said, the mega carriers such as Schneider, Swift, Werner, their logistics companies will sometimes have freight over the weekends. JB Hunt, C.H. Robinson, that kind of thing. But it's not like it is here at the Big Orange. I booked 3 loads that pick up and deliver this whole weekend. But they're all dropping hooks. They're all big companies, and they're all going to big box stores. So what McGee Films and CPAP Machine is going to learn, and I've talked about this before in my Landstar videos, is that your whole perspective is going to be completely opposite. Here at the Big Orange, you're going to want to book 3 or 4 loads ahead. And you want to try to stay that way. Whereas in the spot market, you're not looking to book ahead. You're looking to book at the last minute to get that last minute highest rate when they're desperate. So, and I'll get to some questions here in a second. When you first start out, book 1 load at a time, unless you're working for a broker or you've got a relationship with a broker that sees, hey, I see you're going to be in Chicago. You know that load you like to do, it's up. So you want to do one of them, and if you know the customer and you know the situation, then go for it. Shallow says Primus rate 24/7 is cheap though. Right. So the mega carriers can keep you rolling over the weekend, but it's going to be cheap. And hopefully by Friday you've made your money, or you've booked by Thursday afternoon, you've booked your freight that will deliver Monday. Kind of like what Jeff's doing. So your mindset's going to be completely opposite of what we do here at the Big Orange. And that was one of the things that was weird for me to get used to, is I had to get rid of that mentality that I had to, that I could wait till the last minute. Because here at Schneider, all the best loads are taken as early as possible. And that's kind of a weird habit. Like, I remember sitting in my hotel room at Schneider Orientation, like nervous to book more than 1 load ahead. And Jeff's like on the phone going, no, book, click on those buttons, go. And it was weird to me. There was 1 week at Landstar where I booked 4 loads ahead. It was all short haul stuff within Missouri. I'll tell you what, man, I was stressed out. And I ended up having the deadhead, one cancel, I ended up having the deadhead to not break the string. Because if you break a string and you got 4 loads booked at Landstar and you have to cancel them all, well, you just ticked off four agents. And they may put you on their do not use list. See, the brokers and agents, they have a do not use list too. So, Schneider's no big deal. If one of your loads cancels, you call up, hey, my load canceled, so wipe out everything else. I'll just start over. So, Daniel says, yeah, once in a while I book a load on the weekend, book one at midnight, but it was hot and I get better loads towards the end of the day. Right, Daniel. So let me go back in the questions here. If Jeffrey knew where we were right now, he would spit coffee all over his new ELD, says G Daddy. Any mileage improvement with the new clutch? It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, so far, because yeah, I'm getting 8.2, I think yesterday, but I've only got 4,000 in the box as well. But yeah, there is an improvement now that I think about it. Big Getty, I will say this, my $10.99 from Schneider for the first 6 months versus where I'm now are not even comparable. Right, Big Getty, that's why I'm making the change. And everybody probably knows what I'm doing, where I'm going. It's not a secret. When I left Landstar, it wasn't a secret either. I actually had Landstar call me, hey man, what gives? Like they cared, you know? But so yeah, I'm kind of excited to go back into that. Big Getty, is that sarcasm? I'm kind of excited to get back into that. Worst kept secret on YouTube, says Stu Andrew. Well, in my defense, Jeff kind of spilled the beans before I ever did. So it's a secret, but not a secret. We're just not ready to make it official yet. Snyder didn't even say anything about it really. Well, you know, I'll give Landstar credit. They did go, well, you know, they'll at least try to talk you out of it. But when you tell them you're going local, then that ends the conversation right then and there. Just like you guys ever go to your DMV or someplace where they're doing petitions? Well, all the potheads in Springfield like to hang out at the DMV, and they want you to sign petitions, you know, to legalize marijuana. And you know, and some of them can be pushy. You know, some of them you're like, no, you know, like, oh, no, you know, they get all upset. So a friend of mine told me a trick. You go up to them and they're like, hey, sir, would you like to sign our petition? No, I'm a felon. That ends the conversation right then and there, and they won't touch you after that. It's awesome. So, Big Billy, if it makes you feel better, I'm in the dark. Golden Skull, what's up? I got blocked out of the low board 2 days later, says CPAP. Yeah, I'm not making squat on this load because I've got like over 500 something deadhead miles because of all the empty miles, the extra empty miles I did when my truck broke down. So, and the trailer search here at the Big Orange in my area has not been pleasant. That's why very rarely do I get rid of my trailer. But when I know I'm going to be home for more than a week, that's when I get rid of my trailer. Because I won't book anything that far ahead. So, if you don't have anything booked, you can't sit there with an empty trailer. So, they got a drop lot there in Lowell, Arkansas, which is 130 miles away. They got a lot of customers in Joplin, which is 78 miles away. But we used to deliver at a customer in Springfield, but they got suspicious when 8 Snyder trucks would come in and drop trailers and only have 2 loads going in or out. So they're like, wow, the Snyder's just using this as a drop lot. So they kind of got wise to that, and now they won't let us do that. So, and I've literally dropped my trailer at truck stops. So, which is, I'm surprised to get away with that. You know, they've my load assignment will actually have drop trailer at the Flying J there in Springfield. I'm like, how come when I go to search for a trailer, it's not at the Flying J? Which Prime would let you have your own trailer, Shadow Wolf? Yeah, that would be cool. How much drop and hook do you do, Shadow Wolf? Bandit says, home now, I got a call for a ride. Big Tex, you're in Ardmore. I'll be in Ardmore tonight there, sir. Tex, you on your own yet, or are you still with TL there? I couldn't remember. I know you got a new truck. Big Tex got himself a... Oh, you're on your own. Sweet. Hey, did you get your trailer but no money down? Did you get a brand new one? I forget your deal. You and I need to have a conversation soon. Pale Rider, says Big Tex. Cash. Oh, look at you being all fancy. Being all fancy. So, anyways, if you guys got anything else to talk about, we'll talk about it. Change is up, but average 40% for me. That's not bad. Here I'm at about probably 75, 80%, if not a little bit more, on dropping hooks. I used to do 99% drop and hook at the Big Orange. Got to get used to lives now, says CPAP. Yeah, I saw your video, your 28-minute long video griping about the Snyder trailer pull. I saw that. You know, it's funny. I caught the replay, right? And CPAP did a live feed. He's doing the good and bad of Snyder, right? And his second video is the bad, and it was all... He spent like 10 minutes talking about this one 8-hour drop and hook he did. And it was all funny because I was screaming at the camera saying, well, you know why? Because it was all in Pennsylvania. I'd say that to Steve all the time. Steve will call me, man, I had to do this and deal with that and this, that, and the other. I'm like, you know why? He goes, why? Because Pennsylvania. That's what I say. So all the problems that you and McGee have with the orange, it's all based around one common factor, and that is Pennsylvania. So, what did I learn from your video? Is that you do not drop and hook at Snyder in Pennsylvania. So there you go. You didn't have the same problem at McGee Films? I'm sure you did. Daniel says, just describe the Big Tex truck, and I don't think he's doing videos yet. Hey now, easy on the PA, says Sean Price. Oh, come on, everybody knows I used to practically live in Pennsylvania, man. I was going back and forth there all the time with my old company. TK, I haven't seen you on Periscope in a minute. I've been Periscoping a couple of times too, but I didn't see you in there. PA is where it's at. All I do is deadhead in PA. Or drop and hook in PA, says TK. McGee, there you go, McGee. That's what you do. I took that home. No Southwest loads, Arizona desert's where it's at. Love the desert. Johnny, in the Snyder world, it's not. Because I have a sister that lives out in Arizona, and I used to visit her every now and then when I was at the Blue Star. And a couple of times when I was with my old company, but the rates are great going in, but they're difficult coming out, man. And, you know, when you're dealing with lower rates like that, you don't really want to be more than, you know, 500 or 600 miles from the house. So, there's no reason to do 1,800 mile runs anymore in my stage of the career. Big Getty says, I guess I need to start making videos again. Yeah. TK, I was busy at the moment. I hear you. So, got to get it going in. Yeah, that's true. But then even going in, like if I wanted to bounce around the Northwest, there was good freight coming out of Arizona or California, jumping up and down, you know, I-10, or not I-10, but I-5. But for the most part, you know, I don't want to run the Northwest this time of year. You know, I'm not a real truck driver, so I like my easy, non-mountainous, you know, not 10 feet of snow roads, because I'm a wuss. I don't know how to put chains on, nor will I ever. So I just don't run in that area. Now, June, July, August, man, I love running. I did a load from Laredo up to Idaho for Landstar, and it was awesome. It was a beautiful trip. And then I came back down through Arizona. And I used to live in Arizona. I love Arizona. I love Arizona. But PA sucks for overside. I'm assuming you're saying oversize. Long runs never pay, says CPAP. I don't know about that. Benjamin Duke, not a real truck driver. No, I'm not a real truck driver, man. You know, number one, real truck drivers don't do YouTube videos. I've heard that one. And real truck drivers don't drive fleet trucks and don't do dry van. And what else do they not do? Oh, they don't have E-logs. They don't drive automatics, which I don't have an automatic. What else do real truck drivers don't do? Oh, you have to be an owner-operator. Like, you have to have your own authority to be a real truck driver. I think that's a requirement. Yeah, so no fleet trucks, no dry vans. Reefer trailer, you're kind of flirting with not being a truck driver. But if you got a custom-made trailer and you're a badass outlaw, then you're good to go. No ELD, right, Daniel? Sean says, I like to be home when it's snowing. That way I can carry my lady's lunchbox to the car for her. You won't be going to visit Jeff much. It's real truck, just no monster truck. Yeah, it's probably a toll. 10, 20, 30, 40. There you go, Johnny. No, I'll do, you know, I'd rather be up in Illinois, Indiana when there's a snowstorm, because they know how to remove the snow. I got a brother-in-law that lives up in upstate New York. He works for the New York Turnpike Authority, and man, their snow plows are, man, you watch one of them work, the snow is like 20 feet in the air, man. Those things are real heavy-duty snow plows up there. Real truck drivers sit at the, Big Getty says, real truck drivers sit at the Petro and tell stories about being a truck driver. Yeah, they talk about how outlaw they were back in the day, and then turn around and gripe about how the government's watching them too much. That's the MO. It's like, yeah, these dang E-logs, you know, these dang E-logs, the government does this, the government does that, we don't have any freedoms anymore. But back in the day, I used to run 84 hours straight, I used to run 90 miles an hour everywhere, and I've watched bridges collapse behind me as I went over them, you know, I didn't have any permits, you know, it's like, well, you're the reason why we got the regulations, goofball. So, real truck drivers ain't got no panties on. Well, I don't have any panties on. I have men's underwear. Top-notch plows up there, says Big Billy. Yep, Big Billy should know. He lives up there. Back in the day, says Daniel Nottingham. Yep, back in the day. You know, everybody's like, oh, the camaraderie back in the old day was this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you know what? There were a-holes back then, too. I remember my dad cursing about him all the time when I was in the truck with him. You know, I may not be like Shadow Wolf's age and doing the whole trucking for, you know, 30 years or whatever, but I was around in those days. I was in the industry, you know. I love the smell of diesel back then. Diesel smells different. I love the smell of diesel and axle grease on the yard whenever we went to my dad's yard and company, and it was just, my dad worked for a small owner operator, that company that had like, I don't know, 10 trucks. And, you know, I remember the hours sitting in the line at the pay booth, you know, payphone and all that stuff. And guess what? There were a-holes back then too. And you know, and everybody's like, well, you know, back then we'd all pull over for each other. Well, you know, when you're out in the middle of the desert, you might literally be 400 miles from a gas station back then, and there was no communication. Now you got the Qualcomm that you can at least say something, you know, or, you know, so the CB radios were important then. They aren't important now. Well, they are important now, but just nobody believes it. So, you know, it's all a matter of perspective. And truck drivers weren't respected more back then. You know, I remember going through whole communities and people looked at me and my dad like we were like some like evil biker gang. And, you know, and truck drivers were like kind of like an extension of like biker outlaws. So, you know, was there more camaraderie there back then? Yeah, there was. You didn't have a lot of people that were in the industry that were doing it out of necessity. You know, back then you were a truck driver because you were born into it. So, but at the same time, now you've got, you know, especially when my dad used to run up Northeast all the time, and you know, you had the foreigners back then, you had the people that couldn't speak English back then, you had, you know, you didn't have people weaving in your lane because they're on their cell phone back then. You know, you got that, but the population is literally like 40% higher now than it was back 40 years ago. You know, so let's go back to 36-inch sleepers and payphones. No thanks. Real truck drivers where it depends. It depends on when I get there. So, Shadow, if I didn't make you mad, that's a lot of bullshit. Or are you talking about what I'm saying or what? The old school? Because I know you're old school, man. And I know that things have changed a lot in the industry, and there's not as much passion for the job as there used to be. But that's almost any industry today. Pay is nearly the same as 20 years ago, unfortunately, says Johnny Sacco. I agree with that. There's some guys, if you look up old trucking documentaries on YouTube, it's really fascinating. There was one that was an old like they were showing him on the CB, they showed all the jargon, you know, and I remember those days. You know, I was a bright-eyed, naive little kid that would that's the world I wanted to be in. I kind of wish it was still like that, but the rates, they showed the rates that these owner operators were getting, and it was like comparable to what we're making now. The only difference is fuel was way cheaper back then. So I was really surprised with the rates, but you know, back then truck drivers were still griping about government and the regulations and, you know, all the new rules and this 55-hour speed limit and everything. So, but TJ Bull of the Woods, so Snarler, say again what your future plans are. I plan on entering the spot market with the company. That's true. Things have changed. I did a couple of videos on old school. Yeah, Shadow Wolf, and I enjoyed those videos. And, you know, and I enjoy coming into contact with someone like you or someone that's been driving. Because, you know, my dad, before he passed away, got out of the industry about a year before he passed away. And you know, and my mom and I talk about him quite a bit. Like, he would have loved Google Earth. He would have loved Google Maps. He would have loved doing this YouTube thing. He was making videos of family stuff, you know, before there was even YouTube, you know, and put them on his computer, and YouTube was still a new concept at that time, and he would really enjoy the technology. However, I don't think he would like the way business is done in the industry now. I don't think he would, you know, and that's kind of the thing. You know, industry is so different. You know, watch a movie from the 80s. I'm not talking trucking movies. I'm talking like anything. Like industry and capitalism is way different now than it was 20 years ago. And trucking is part of that. So there are times when I do crave the old school, you know. But back then, you know, you had cab overs and 48-footers, so if you got lost, it wasn't as big of a deal, you know, and you didn't have all these uppity neighborhoods that didn't want trucks in their neighborhood, and, you know, but, you know, I enjoy those days with riding with my dad, and that's why I'm in this truck, is because this was, I felt, was my destiny, you know. And unfortunately, it's had a toll on my body, and it's time to work less, make more. And that's kind of what I'm gearing towards. So my dad was an owner operator in the 80s, and he didn't fare too well. But he also didn't have the tools that I have now. You got the internet, you've got, you know, your cell phone, you've got all these things that are technology based that make the world so much easier in trucking. So much easier that you got a lot of people doing trucking that probably shouldn't be trucking. And, you know, and back then, that was a rare thing to see. It was rare to see someone who couldn't back. It was rare to see someone who was driving a truck that didn't start in his dad's field on the old corn binder, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I remember this old school guy was griping about CDL schools. Well, I told him, I said, well, that's the only way you get in the industry now. You can't just learn on the farm on your dad's corn binder. You know, you can't. We're not all born with the gear shift in our hand. And so, yeah, and are there good CDL schools? Yes, but there's a lot of bad CDL schools. And then the mega carriers, they get a lot of attention because of the internet, because they got a high, you know, profile name like Swift, and they're just churning out meat. They're just churning out flesh, steering wheel holders. And these people are lucky to get it straight down the road without any mishaps, you know. And there's a higher concentration of trucks now, there's a higher concentration of traffic now, and so a lot of these things have tainted the industry. It's changed the industry. And I believe that if you're so old school and you're so set in your ways that you won't progress, then this industry is going to eat you up, because technology has embraced the industry. Now, with that being said, for some reason, we're talking about autonomous trucks again in the YouTube trend world, okay? And autonomous trucks are a great idea, but there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to fear. Anybody who says, well, you know, it's going to take away drivers from the industry, you can't have autonomous trucks with the infrastructure we have now. You just can't. Just like the electric car. The electric car has been around, what, 20 years now? Is there an infrastructure built for it? No. You might find a hotel in some of the bigger cities that has plug-ins for cars, but the infrastructure is not even there for electric cars. So to have infrastructure for electric trucks and self-driving trucks, it's just not there. You have some loads being pulled by some trucks on some straight interstates out west that are doing it autonomously, but there still has to be a person in the truck. Okay? So, autonomous trucks might be a reality 20 years from now. And guess what? 20 years from now, I'm not going to care. 20 years from now, I might be dead. 20 years from now, I will definitely be out of the truck. As much as I like trucking, I'm not driving this thing till I'm 80. It's just not going to happen. So, you know, I'd be 60 in 20 years, or a little over 60, but hopefully by 20 years, I'll be retired, you know. Now, will my son have a problem if he wants to get into truck driving? Maybe, but there's still so much infrastructure that needs to be built. And the government does not want to put money into that infrastructure. Go down US 69. You think an autonomous truck can do that road? No. Go down, you know, I-70 in New Stanton, Pennsylvania. You think an autonomous truck can do that stretch of highway? No. So, the only way electric trucks will be a thing is if they're hybrids, if you can do diesel and electricity. And think about the billions and billions of dollars that the oil companies make. You think they want electric trucks on the road? No. So that fear-mongering that autonomous trucks are going to take our jobs is exactly that. All it is to get investors all right, like the Tesla. You guys seen that Tesla video where he's got all the investors in the grandstands and they're parading the truck around? It's just all a ruse to get money. The Tesla car has been around a while. How many Tesla cars do you see on the road? Not very many, right? They haven't taken over, because when they finally do, we'll come out with that technology. When they finally do come out with that, guess what? It's going to be expensive. Now, a Tesla truck, there's orders for them. There's like, they're going to run about $250,000, and your fuel, your cost of maintenance and fuel are going to go way down. That's great. But where's the infrastructure to support that Tesla truck? Where is it? Because I don't know how many Flying J's have you gone to where there's plug-ins? How many truck stops at all have you seen plug-ins for a Tesla truck? So you think people are going to spend $250,000 on a truck that you can't fill up? So now the concept's nice. Don't lose horsepower on heavy loads. And that's the other thing. Oh, we can haul 80,000 pounds and still take off 6 seconds. 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. Well, why would you want to do that? If you got 80,000 pounds, that's a faster missile. So you better have some heavy duty brakes on that truck. If there's no it's like a freight train. A freight train just doesn't suddenly take off, does it? No, it takes it a minute to take off, and it takes a minute to brake because of the weight. Not because of the power. So it's 10 years they might start flirting with the infrastructure idea. So it's stupid. All it is a lot of hype to get investors to give them money, and that's it. That's all it is. Because remember back in the 80s, we were supposed to have flying cars by now. We were supposed to have this. Hell, we were supposed to have flying cars by 1984. And you watch movies like Blade Runner, some of the newer Star Wars, Futurama, we're all flying around. Well, people can't even drive their damn cars. You think they're going to be flying around? No, the infrastructure is never going to be there for that. Never. Mark my words. Put this in the vault and open up this. I challenge you to open up this video 30 years from now and tell me I'm not right. So I got kind of on a rant, so let's go back to the comments here. Christian Trucker in the house. Dollar Bill says, won't see electric trucks in our lifetime. Auto trucks for line hauls, but drivers needed for the short local part of it. Weird racing. See, and that, if you're doing, but still, you still need someone in the truck. Planes, you got drones, but there's still someone flying that drone. Now, if you have an autonomous truck, you still have guys that will have to be at some remote place doing the remote control. But even then, that takes a person, right? And how are you supposed to know if your wheel seal's out if there's no person in the actual truck? How are you supposed to know when you've got a flat tire? If you blow a tire, what happens? So no, the earth is not flat. James Neal, if you're not willing to change, you're not going to make it. I agree. A lot of infrastructure is still in the 70s. Right. Diesel companies run the world. Oil companies run the world. How are electric trucks going to work in 2 inches of snow? Sounds like a wiring nightmare. Right. Yeah. The collision mitigation system, that goes out in the snow. So, there's a reason why they aren't testing those trucks in congested areas or bad weather. Exactly, Lance. Your load would be a mess. Yeah, if you're jarring around 80,000 pounds in that kind of speed, you better have some awesome load securement. You know what I mean? $500,000 for the Nikola, $1 million mile lease. They even have a bicycle now, Shadow Wolf. Those trucks can't go over the road. Looks like a sleeper, but that sleeper area is the battery. It's not the sleeper, right? If infrastructure bill is passed by Congress, $1.5 trillion will make a huge mess with the great infrastructure benefits in 20 years. We will not see the initial impact of the new roads, says TJ. We'll be space trucking by the time autonomous electric trucks take over, right? Yeah, clutch. Sam, the clutch is good. I'm still waiting on flying skateboards. Have a person in a room doing the piloting of the trucks like Air Force drones controlled from a room in another country. We're racing, that's fine. But, I think someone was talking about this on one of the Facebook pages, that you're going to have people that, you're going to go back to like people that fuel the truck for you. You're going to go back to, but still pre-trip inspections. There's a lot of visual aspects of doing this job that you have to deal with. I like to see one of those Nikola trucks go through this parking lot. This parking lot looks like the moon landing here. I will believe in electric self-driving trucks when they test them in a PA winter. Cousin It, you're exactly right. So some of these YouTubers that are going off about the fear of autonomous trucks, man, they're just, it's just, you're creating waves for no reason, and everybody's getting upset. It's nothing to get upset about. You know what I mean? One nuke and we'll all be old school trucking. Right, Johnny? Shadow Wolf says, I want a girl robotics thing. Like Blade Runner? Christian Truck says, air's not flat. Well, crap, what do I do now? Guys, the internet breeds ignorance. The internet breeds unnecessary fear and unnecessary problems. Like, why are people debating if the earth is round or flat again? Why is that even a thing? Why are we debating that? Why are we getting upset about things that we have no control over? Why are we, it's just like the political discussions, we're going to argue for the sake of arguing. People want to hear themselves arguing. And I don't get that kind of mentality. I really don't. And unless okay, let's look at solar panels, right? Solar paneling. Solar paneling is a cheap, or is a way for cheap power, right? And so the companies that own the energy here in America, those are the power plant companies. What did they do? They lobbied with the local governments to sit there and say, hey, if you get solar panels and make it cheaper, we're not going to embrace that. We're going to charge you for that. So in the end, you pay for the solar panels and you got to pay a sub fee because the power plants still want their chunk of change. Just like wind power. I believe in wind power, and there's a lot of windmills that have been put up since I've been trucking. However, the power plant companies like, hey, we're going to charge you to have those windmills. And that's the thing. The oil companies, the insurance companies, and the power companies, they're the ones that own this country. So therefore, they set the rules. Electric trucks will come to fruition if the oil companies can make money off of it. You go against the oil company, you're not going to win. Think about the big oil company crash a few years ago. Now the oil rig trucking is up. Oil rig jobs are up because the oil companies fought back and they got a president that supports them. So that proves that you can have all these alternative fuels and everything else, and that's a great idea, and it's great for the planet and all that stuff, but the people with the money are only going to allow it to happen when they can make money from it. That's it. Insurance companies determine if we live or die. Literally, if we live or die. If you have cancer and your insurance company doesn't cover it, you're done. If you want to pay for cancer insurance, you're going to pay out the yin yang. So they're making money off of you that way. So I don't believe our future is bleak. It's just, there's just a lot of new issues that we didn't have 20 years ago, both in trucking and both in the real world, you know? Vasily says, ever since I heard about the flat earth era, I've been paranoid trucker. I've never known when I'm going to hit the edge or fly right off. I know, right? James Neal, I'm retiring in June, so y'all can have it. I'm going to fish and drink beer. That sounds like a good plan there. So, contaminated panels after their 20-year lifespan is all that crap's going to go in the ocean. Right. The internet's where psychopathy lives, breeds, and produces new followers, says Big Yeti. I believe that. Vasily, I'm glad to see you in here. Leon Smith, because somebody has to be right no matter what, LOL. Right? Life Shocker 76. If you sub to me, I'll sub to you. Like your vids, I'll do anything. Someone's calling me Santa. Oh, how original. Arguing with stupid people, says Christian Trucker, only makes you stupid. That is correct. No, Jerry, the earth is not flat. Guys, I think Vasily was kidding. There's a video I watched on YouTube. It was like a camera mounted on the space shuttle as it was going into space, and you could see the curvature of the earth. It's kind of funny. Indiana is flat. If Indiana is your world, it is flat. That's why I like running Indiana, because you ain't got them mountains to mess with your 45,000 in the box. So, but all right, we are at a little over an hour, and I know that people hate hour-long live feeds, even if you're listening to them going down the road. So we're gonna end this here. Weird Racing says, Earth is flat. I saw photos of the Earth eclipse on the moon. It was the line. I saw it on the internet, so it has to be true. We live in a day and age where if we come up with photographic evidence, it's not worthy anymore. Sun Chaser, Indiana's a bumpy flat. Yeah, you are right about that. I-70, especially that stretch between mile marker 130 and the state line of Ohio, man. You end up getting new shocks after a trip like that. I know it's funny, man. Sometimes they'll jump in the left lane in certain parts of that stretch in Indiana and like, freaking Snyder, man, you gotta stay out of the left lane. they gotta pass me on the right, and they're all like jarring all over the place. And 69 is kind of the same way here in Oklahoma, man. There's just like some parts you just stay in the left lane. And I try not to slow anybody down, so I'm doing the speed limit or whatever. But you got these. I'm not a real trucker, so you got these real truckers that need to do 75 in Indiana, which is a stupid thing to do, and they get mad if you're in the left lane trying to avoid the bumps, or you have to get over in the shoulder a little bit, so you look like you're an idiot on your cell phone. So, but avoid the bumps. If you're an owner-operator, avoid the bumps as much as you can, because the less wear on your shocks, less wear on your tires. You're paying for that stuff. Whereas, company guys like, oh yeah, I'm going to get air off this one, So, oh man. So, your hour live feeds seem only like 30 minutes, doesn't it? Yeah, they only feel like 30 minutes to me. I'll sit there and be jabbing away, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, crap, I've been on here for an hour. So, right now we're at an hour and 9 minutes and 28 seconds. So, I got to get to work, guys. I got to go into Dallas today. So, Christian Trucker says, McGee Films, I one day will shed the orange. I hope that's really soon. So, I hope that's really soon for you, Christian Trucker. So, James Neal, Sorrel, I gotta go. Be safe with your new drive. Help, I will help. That's the response I wanted to see, Mr. Nottingham. Very good, very good. You're almost into Atoka? Are you going north or south, Daniel Adami? Because if you're going north, we're going to cross paths. If you're going south, I won't catch up to you because I'm delivering Durant. Oh, you're going south? Well, fine. Be that way. I wanted to see your new truck. I want to see Mr. Adami's new truck. Hell, with that company you're working for now, we'll probably cross paths a lot more. So, all right, gentlemen and ladies, whatever other riffraff might be in here, thank you for watching. Find me on Facebook at Snorlord. Everybody be safe, be good, be respectful, love yourselves. If not, you know, how far are you from Atoka? Well, I'm in Chakotah and I'm not rolling yet. I still got to do a pre-trip and I still got to get a cup of coffee. I still got to fill this sucker up because I didn't make any coffee this morning. So you guys take it easy. Thanks for watching. And hey, guess what? I'm going to leave this one up because I don't care. So see ya.